go. All right. Well, we back. Third episode of Dad Can We Talk. Today I got one of my brothers, one of my homies, one of my I like to call him one of my best buddies. My brother Michael Hill. What's good with you, bro?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. So you already know, if y'all have been in tune with Dad Can We Talk, you know we like to be genuine. We want to be real. And we just gonna have some fatherhood conversation. You know, we're gonna talk about all things fatherhood. We're gonna talk marriage. We're gonna talk everything that encompasses fatherhood. And I just want to get right into it today, bro. How you been? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm just honored to be here. And first of all, I just want to give you your props, man, for doing everything, for highlighting dads in general, man. And it's important for you to keep doing it because people have a stigma about dads. So I'm just honored to be here.
For sure. Yeah, that's definitely one of my big things, man. You know why I started this, because I've always said, and I know too many good dads out here. You know, I know too many, especially I know so many good black dads. And for the narrative around black fatherhood for years to have been that we're not there, you know, we're inactive, we're deadbeats, you know, all these negative stereotypes about black fatherhood, things that honestly I don't see too much of right now. Of course, I ain't saying that there are no bad dads out there, but I just don't like to focus on that because I know that there's too many dads out here that's taking care. And I ain't talking about just there. I'm talking about really being active in their children's lives, you know, as far as the education, feeding their children, taking their children out to events and doing things, you know. And there was a stat there was a study back in maybe 2016, 2017, where the study found that actually it's the other way around. Black dads are the most involved dads. You know, I think there was a study, I think it was from the CDC or something like that. And the study actually said that, it found that black dads were actually more involved. And when it says more involved, I think they were saying, like, as far as taking their children out and doing things with their children, they said that black dads had the highest percentage of actually not just, we live in the house with our children. Because just because you live in the house with your children don't mean that you're active with your children. It's a totally different thing, bro. Totally different thing. And so that's why I say, you know what? I'm gonna start a whole podcast about, you know, highlighting these dads that I know that are like, man, I'm proud. I'm proud of all the dads that I know, people like you, all the other brothers that I know that are actually involved and active in their children's lives in every aspect. You know, it ain't no, I only do this or I only do that. Like, there's so many people, so many dads that are doing things that I know my dad didn't do. Yeah. You know, so bro, like, I appreciate you and everything that you stand for, because it's important to have people like us in our community. And it's important for me, I feel like, to highlight that, bro, because that's an important thing, man. But first thing, you know, how many children you got? Let the people know.
Currently 4 kids, 3 are girls and 1 boy.
Yeah. So, and you got we just gonna go right here. We're gonna go here. So you have 3 from your wife, right?
3 from my wife.
So you have 3 from your wife, and then you have your wife had a previous child.
Correct.
So how has that been? How has it been being a stepdad? How has that relationship been?
Yeah, it was challenging at first.
Yeah.
Because kind of like you said, the stigma, even putting the stepdad on it, is hard. And I was fortunate to come into meeting my wife while she's the baby was only like 6-7 months old.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to be there when she was young.
Dang, she was that young?
Yeah, 6 months, man. And so I was fortunate to come in the picture where she could just look at me like a father. Mm-hmm. And, most cases, a lot of stepdads come into the picture while the kids are already kind of like older and they don't really want to respect another man, don't want to call him dad or whatever. So it was like, it was good. But now that she's older, me and my wife have been together 8 years and she's 9 now, it's like, I can hear sometimes be like, well, I'm going to call my daddy. And I'll be like, well, I'm your daddy. But you do got another daddy. But it's like, I can see that she want to be around her other father, her biological father, which I don't mind. But I have to remind her that, I'm the father in the house that been with you, for the long way. So it's getting to a point where I got to kind of like sit down and have a talk with her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To let her know where her biological dad come in at and where I come in at. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of challenging right now, but I'm up to the task.
That's real. That's real. How is your relationship with the other dad? Like how does he feel about you being there and all that stuff?
Yeah, he at first, of course, he didn't like it. Yeah. Until he seen what type of man I was. Mm-hmm. And consistently, basically, like every time he seen me or heard, I was always doing something positive, always like just loving, just a loving person. So right now we don't speak a lot, but he respect me and I respect him, and I think that's good enough for me. Yeah, that's
straight up. And I think that's one of the most important things, because of course you don't want to tell him, well, you can't see your child or you can't talk with your child. I mean, at the end of the day, it is his daughter, but there also has to be boundaries, I think, especially if the person ain't really doing what they're supposed to do. And now all of a sudden, now they see you come into the picture, and now it's like, oh, I'm gonna make sure I'm taking my daughter. And it's like, no, we ain't gonna kind of do it like that, And I know people that are like, when the mother of their child has another man, oh, they like, oh no, I got to go in. I can't let that happen. And they'll do everything they can to sabotage the relationship instead of just saying, you know what? Hey, it's all good, bro. Like, at the end of the day, we got to work together. Yeah. And I think that's the most important thing, because it ain't about you and it ain't about your wife and it ain't about him. It's about the child. Yes. And like you say, you are the father in that house. And like, I know that, she respects you, and I hear her saying all the time, I'm gonna go, my daddy left already, like, to her, like, I know that's like, this is who I see every day. This is my dad right here. And that's why I like to say, my thing is, I mean, I understand the whole stepdad thing, but man, if you taking care of that child and you're rearing that child and you're the person there, making sure that child has food to eat, making sure that child is clothed, making, having talks with that child, being there for that child emotionally, bro, you are the father. Yes. Like, yes. That it is what it is. Hands People down. feel how they feel about it, but the way I look at it, bro, if you are doing the fatherly duties, you are the father. Like, maybe other people might feel differently, but that's the way I look at it, and that goes for not just stepdads, even if, an uncle had to step in for a child and take care of a child. I know some people that look at their uncles or their granddad or whoever the case may be. And it goes both ways, even if it's like, some people who were raised by their grandmother, they will say, well, like my grandma was my mama, because that's who they knew who took care of them.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, that's, I can see how that could definitely be.
And like I told my daughter, it's good to have two dads.
All right.
I mean, both of us love him, and both of us kind of like, of course I'm active, and he's active when he can be, when he can have the time. So I said, baby, you got it made. And I told him the same thing. I said, she got two daddies.
All right.
So what's better than one?
All right.
Two.
That's real. That's real, man. So you got that one, but so then so you say she's what, 10 now or 9?
She'll be 10 in October.
She's 10. How old the other one?
Mia is 5, and Mariah is 2, and Michael is 1.
Yo, boy, so y'all
back to back, man.
Y'all kind of like us, we got the Azriel 6, Uriah 4, Nana 3.
Back to back.
When I tell you, man, I was just telling Chanel this morning, I'm like, bro, parenthood is like, sometimes, bro, I'm like, oh my God, like, how do I keep my sanity, especially with these kids that are back to back like that?
Back to back.
And then it's like you trying to deal with all of them into one. And man, sometimes, bro, how do we do it? Is my question, bro.
Hey, I always say parenting is the best learning and teaching skill you could have. I mean, because every day you learning.
That's real.
And every day you teaching.
That's real.
So you a teacher every day, and you a student kind of like every day.
All right.
So I was looking at that the other day, and I was like, man, that's the best gift every day of waking up and being a parent. You learning something new every day. And then you teaching something new every day.
Every day, bro.
Every day. Every day.
Every day, man.
Every day.
And that's sometimes, bro, honestly, bro, it be a struggle, because it's feel like, especially when you feel like you trying to teach all of these things, but it's like they ain't getting it. Every day, I'm telling you, clean up behind yourself. When you get up from the table, make sure you take your plate, put it in the trash. My little baby, Nana, she like to take her whole plate with the spoon and everything, throw the stuff in the trash. And so I started realizing like, dang, but we ain't got no more spoons. We ain't got no more forks.
Yep.
And then one day I seen her do it, and I'm like, that's where all my stuff at? So I done had to go and buy a whole new thing of spoons and forks and a whole new thing, bro, a lot. The other day, she getting her plate from the table and go throw the thing. I say, so you still doing that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, how many times am I going to have to tell you to not throw it? And it's like, and then I be having to step back at times because I'm talking about real deal frustrated, bro. And then it's like, and then God would say to me, you just the same way.
Just the same way. That's so good about it though. Like you were just saying, it's like now you have to figure out a problem, how to deal with that. And then when you do it and you see your child learn it and you say, man, I actually solved the problem and she actually got it.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? So, and the flip side of that, like you say, your kids will bring out the worst in you.
All right.
Kids will bring out the worst in you. Like they'll have you madder than anything in the world. Your boss, your wife, your co-worker, the driver, the people in the Starbucks line. Your kids will have you saying, I ain't never been this mad before.
38 hot, bro. Real deal hot. Cause I'm telling you, bro. But like I say, it always sobered me up at the thought of
you the same
I'm
way.
The same way. When it comes to my relationship with God, it's like I ain't perfect. Mm-hmm. I make mistakes. I do the same thing over and over and over again. Even after I say, well, this gonna be my last, I ain't gonna do that no more. Or I ain't gonna think like this no more. And so it's always sobering you know, it hit me this morning. I was driving here to church this morning, and I was fussing at the kids all morning. And then it hit me like,
that's how I be.
Boy, I know God probably be wanting to slap me slap me all up, because I'm literally, bro, it's like I'm a child too, you know, and it's even it even goes past, you know, the spiritual point, you know, things that I shouldn't do in my marriage, you know, saying certain things when I know I shouldn't say it, you know, getting upset and just saying things impulsively, knowing that the last time me and my wife got into it, I said, well, baby, I ain't gonna do that no more. And then I'll still be mad. And I'm like, you know, so at the end of the day, that's the thing that always keeps me grounded and sober as a father, knowing that I still have things to learn too, you know. And
yes.
This right here is an important thing. What we talked about last time is going back to your children and apologizing when you're wrong. And because I think
that's good.
Like, we can't give off this
I'm perfect persona.
Always to the children, because then our children start to look at us like, you know, right now they're young. But then I think, you know, as they get older, then they start seeing that, shoot, daddy, you be doing stuff too. You know, like I'm fussing at them jokers about to putting on their seatbelt. And sometimes I'm in the car and I just get up driving and I'm fussing at them, put your seatbelts on now. And then I realize I ain't got mine on. And it's like, and sometimes they'll call me out on that. Like, hey, well, daddy, you ain't got yours on either. And it's like, when they hit me with that stuff, it's like, dang, you know what, they right. I'm tripping right now. Now you still need to put your seatbelt on, but I do too. You know what I'm saying? You know what, daddy wrong too. You know, we all need to put on the seatbelts. So, yeah, man, that's something that I think is very important in fatherhood. And I would like to ask you this question. What's your biggest mistake that you've made as a father up until this point? Something that you can say, you know, this right here was one of the moments where I knew I needed to really, I needed to make this thing right, or I needed to redirect even my own self, you know, after this mistake. You know, if there's been any mistakes that you've made as a father that could be a teachable moment to other fathers.
That's a good question. That's a real tough question. Up to this moment, my biggest mistake, probably not understanding my wife.
All right.
Because you was alluding earlier about going back to our childhood and how we seen our fathers and even our father's childhood. And at one point in the time, I was trying to teach my wife certain things about how we should do things as one. And I realized, I said, first of all, I got to understand her, because I was blaming her for a lot of things, thinking she should already know this stuff. You should know this and you should know that. And I was like, how did she grow up really? I mean, I know, but now I really want to know. I want to go in deep about how it like mentally affected her. I know certain things, but you know, mental health a big issue right now. And I'm looking at it like, man, she kind of like had mental problems growing up. So now that was when I say I caught myself one day, is we got in a big argument. I said, how can I solve this? And I said, understanding her more. And so ever since that day, I've been trying to understand my wife more and more at the age of 13, at the age of 14, at the age of 15. I want to know what she was going through and thinking about then, because now we got daughters. That's right. If she was thinking about 13 sneaking out the house, what you buy our daughter, what she gonna be thinking about? Or even me as a husband and a man. So, you know, I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that I seen that I had to improve on, is understanding my wife.
That's real. And people might say, man, that ain't That ain't important. But man, I feel you, bro. Because especially if you're not married, you really won't understand how important it is even for children to see their mom and their dad working together as a team. Because I think what can happen a lot of times is we pit ourselves against each other like we're enemies. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, oh, bro, we on the same team. You know, and like you say, that there's a song by this guy that I listen to named Swoop. And he says that in the song, and he's like, you know, he's just kind of talking about throughout the whole song how him and his wife, like, bro, man, we on the same team. You know, and he had a line in the song, and he said something like, why we play the blame game when we got the same name? Mm. And I was like, dang. And it just, in that moment, it hit me because I'm like, dang, like I really be looking at my wife like she's my opponent sometimes.
Exactly.
Like, we got the same name. My last name Ray, your last name Ray. You know, our children last name Ray. Like, we literally on the same team. Like, we live in the same house. You know, we supposed to be one. We supposed to be the same. Like, we are one flesh. Why are we so against each other at times? You know, it's like we're trying to find things where we're against each other. And I don't think at times we do it consciously, but it's unconsciously. You know, especially when we didn't grow up, like you say, when we didn't grow up seeing, you know, these relationships like a father, a husband, wife relationship. You know, a lot of us, especially in our community, bro, like we ain't really see, you know, good relationships, or we did see, you know, a husband and wife relationship, but we seen a husband and wife that didn't like each other.
Yes.
You know, that didn't work together. And now we're married and we're trying to figure this thing out. And if we've never seen that, and now we have children, it's like, man, literally, bro, at times, it's like we're enemies. And I think that's one thing that we really got to fix in our community, really fixing that. Because when our children see that, what they do is, and they don't know any better a lot of times either, they'll even pit us against each other.
Yes, I done seen that. And that goes along with my oldest daughter. Mm-hmm. And, you know, like we were saying earlier, you know, I came into her life when she was 7 months, but now she know that she got another dad. Yeah. And I'm her daddy, but she got another daddy. And so sometimes she'll be like, you know, I might say like, put that phone down.
Yeah.
Or I want to go to my dad's house now. Or me and my wife get to arguing or something, and she'll be closer to her mama. And I just be like, you know, I see kind of stuff like that, and I say, nah, we got to squash this in the bud right now. Yeah, so, definitely, man. You know, kids will definitely do that. But you got to understand now, they kids.
Yeah, straight up.
You know,
I don't know no better.
They don't know no better. And I always tell people, man, you got to realize they think they knowing what's right, mm-hmm. but they don't know what's right. That's so real. We got to come in and teach them what's right and wrong, man. And it's important that they can see mom and dad argue. And 5 minutes later, they hugging and kissing.
All right. That's real. That's real. How you feel about, what's your thoughts on a mom and a dad, you know, arguing in front of the children?
It depends on the argument and how it escalates and what's the argument about. I know my youngest two, when they even hear me and my wife even get mad or yell at each other, they start crying immediately. Yeah. It scared them. And then it scared me because I be thinking, what they thinking?
All right.
I be saying what they thinking. So, you know, it depends on what the argument is and how you dealing with it in front of them, because mental health, like we were saying earlier, it plays a vital role in a child's life. So if you can, my advice is to keep the arguments as low and quick as possible with the kids in the room and
talk about it
later and realize that, you know, it's affecting the kids when you do get in an argument in front of them.
Mm-hmm. And that's important. That's something that I'm working on. You know, I'm working on that thing, man, because at times, you know, like it's in the spur of the moment. I'm thinking to myself, I ain't trying to wait till later. I want to get that thing off my chest right now.
And sometimes you'll say that because, you know, you'll say, man, we're going to wait till later. And some problems you said that you didn't never get to.
All right.
So then you saying, well, we said that about the last 2 times and we never handled it. So I'm going to handle it now. I don't care about these kids in front of here or not, because we need to handle this because we ain't handled the last 2 situations. Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, that's where the oneness come in at. Mm-hmm. And you and your wife sacrifice time to really talk about situations. So, you know, definitely nip it in the bud quick though when the kids there.
That's real. How was your relationship with your own dad? What was that like?
Well, of course, you know, I grew up, you know, single mother. Mm-hmm. My mama and daddy got married before I was born, before my oldest brother was born. And I say by the time I was 3, they was married like maybe 8 years at the most. Mm-hmm. They divorced. And I don't really remember him being around when I was younger, but after that, the relationship kind of like just went downhill. And the funny thing about that is, you know, just like any son, though, they look up to their dad as their hero. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we stayed in Georgia, he stayed in Florida, but it was just something about my daddy when I talked to him, even though I knew I might talk to him on my birthday or just for Christmas, it was still like, that's my daddy.
That's real.
You know, and until I got older, and of course, when you turn into a teenage boy, you start resenting all the things that your father didn't do when he wasn't there. And you start remembering the times your mama was crying. Mm-hmm. So, of course, when I got older, I started looking at him like with hate and envy. So, you know, I had to repair that over time and realize that, you know, he did some mistakes. My mama did some mistakes. But right now, at 35 married, we closer than we ever been. And I can say, you know, it's only God did that. So, but growing up, just like any other, you know, young man out there seeing their mama struggle, you know, of course, the relationship with my dad was real bad. And, you know, we weren't close.
Charlemagne from Breakfast Club said something the other day. And it hit me and it was so real. He said, in reference to our dads, he was like, you know, in so many ways, what he was saying was like, at some point, we got to really look at our dads. You know, we got to really look at, like, we just got to kind of look at them as not, like, they ain't perfect dudes, you know, like, and we got to really understand that. And I think when you really start to see your dad as he was, like, I know my dad was young when he had me, and yeah, he made mistakes. It's like, yeah, I mean, of course I would have wished that he would have been there while I was growing up, but it's like, man, my daddy had some real issues, bro.
Yes.
Like, he had real issues. And it's like, when you start looking at your dad in that way, like, why was, like, and I think we got to have that conversation with our dads. And that's the conversation that I did have with mine. And I asked him one time, he was at the county jail. And I pulled up and I just asked him, like, bro, what happened? Like, I just want to know, like, this was some years ago. This was maybe 2012, 2011. And, you know, I had just got saved. And I was like, man, you know what? I ain't never really had a real conversation with my dad. Like, I had talked with him before, of course, but I had never really sat him down and really had like a real man-to-man conversation. Mm-hmm. And I sat him down and I just asked him, bro, tell me what happened, bro. I just want to know. I ain't even come here to judge and that. I want to know what happened to you, bro. Why are you the way that you are? Mm-hmm. And man, he sat down and he told me, bro. He laid it all out. And the one thing I realized is that, man, my daddy had real issues, bro. Like, he had real issues. And it's like, who am I to judge you, bro?
Yep. And speaking of my dad, he said, I remember when my granddaddy passed, his daddy. I never knew my granddaddy. Never seen him. Mm-hmm. Never. But I remember when he passed, this was around about 2010, 2011. One of my cousins called me and said, yeah, you know, your granddaddy passed. So I called my daddy and I asked him, was he even going to the funeral? And he said, nah, I ain't going. And I was like, he ain't going to his own daddy funeral? And just like you were just saying, now that I think about that, 10 years ago when he said that, I think about, man, I wonder how his relationship with his daddy affected his relationship, how he wanted to raise me. And, you know, I ain't had that point, that talk like you had with your dad, but I want to talk about my dad, you know, about the effects of him not having his dad in his life because he couldn't, because he's like, man, I ain't going to his funeral. I ain't really know him like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, dang, so you still envying your dad at 60 years old.
It's real.
My dad was like 60, 61 when his daddy died. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I ain't going. So he still had issues he was dealing with his daddy. And I wonder how that played a role with him raising me. Mm-hmm. And he was 60 then.
That's trauma, dog. That trauma, bro. And that's what I think a lot of people, you know, especially when it comes to our parents, I think we can be very judgmental of our parents at times. Mm-hmm. You know, especially now that we're parents and stuff. I think a lot of people be very judgmental of their parents. And the crazy thing is, I think it'd be the other way around a lot of times. Like, I feel like we be very judgmental of our parents, but our parents be looking at us like, you know, like when it comes to my children, I'm fussing at them jokers. Then my mama would be like, well, Sean, you ain't got to
worry about that.
I'm like, huh?
Don't worry about that.
As many times as you tore my behind up when I was younger, and she like, well, you know, I shouldn't have did that. You know, and she say stuff like that now. And it's like, she understand now that she's older. She like, nah, you know, like that don't do it. You ain't got to, don't get him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, what you mean? Don't get him. Like, but you got me.
For a little less, for way less stuff than that.
For real. So I think at times we be judgmental of our parents, but our parents the other way. So it's like, but it took for me to really sit down with my dad and have that conversation. Because I felt like I actually knew him now, and I understood more about my dad. And it gave me just a greater understanding. Now, like you said, boy, the relationship I got with my daddy now, boy, I wish I had this all my life.
All my life.
You know, now, my dad called me every other week, you know, just, hey son, you know, I was just calling, I was thinking about you, you know, how you doing? Sometimes he called me asking for prayer, you know, or he just needs some encouragement, you know, and still at this age, you know, my daddy calling me for encouragement, son, you know, I just need to hear some, I need some word. What's the word? I need that right now.
Yes.
And at times I be thinking, shoot, boy, sometimes I need that from my daddy, but well, I thank God I'm in a position to where, you know, I can be influential to my father. And give him those words of encouragement and keep him uplifted. But I thank God for my dad nowadays, you know, because he, like I say, he'll call me. He let me know he loved me. And for me, that's everything, bro. Like, that's everything, bro. Because I ain't never really been mad with my dad per se. Like, I don't know. At times it did hurt me, you know. One night, bro, I don't think I ever told you about this. I called Pastor one night. We were out there doing the mentoring on 8th
Gardenia.
at the Blue Center. one night after we left from out there, bro, I'm driving home. Bro, I just start crying, bro. I don't know why I'm crying. I'm just crying, bro. I'm talking about like, ain't regular crying.
Just
I'm talking about
crying. It's not coming out.
What? Bro, I was so sad, bro. It just hit me. Cause you know how we used to be with them jits, bro. You know, all the stuff we were doing for them. And like, bro, I literally love them kids, bro. Like I love them jits, bro. And I felt like, you know, there was nothing that I wouldn't do for them jits, bro. Like anything in my power that I could do, I would do. Because I love them jits. That like we spent so much time with them jits. I felt like, you know, they were my little brothers, you know, something like that. And I started thinking like, damn, like why my daddy don't love me like this?
Exactly.
Like, and it just hit me, bro. And I started thinking about how I was with my children at the time. At the time, all I had was Azriel. And I'm like, why my daddy don't love me like this? Mm-hmm. Like the way that, and not knowing that he probably do love me like that. Maybe he just had his own issues.
Yes.
But like, why wasn't my daddy here for me? Like the same way I'm here for these kids, I wish my daddy would have been here for me like this to give me that push and tell me that I could do better than what I'm doing. You know, why couldn't it, you know, he be there to just hug me sometimes? Why ain't my daddy here? Why my daddy ain't here to just hear me sometimes? You know, and it hit me that night, bro. And I went home, bro. I cried on my wife's shoulder, bro. Like for real. And it hit me that night. And I called my mom. And my mom was like, you know, she just told me, you know, well, you know, I was always here for you. And I had to explain to her, you know, it ain't about her. Like my mom did everything she could, literally, bro. I'm talking about perfect to me. My mom was that. She was all that, bro. And, you know, okay, yeah, I had uncles and, you know, I had, you know, other men that tried to step in, but it's like, bro, at the end of the day, it still wasn't my dad. Like, I wanted my dad to be there.
Yes.
Like, I wanted that relationship with him. Like, I literally wanted that. And, you know, like, with all of that, like, when that hit me, I was like, I think at that moment, it hit me like, okay, maybe it does hurt me. Like, because I used to say, well, I don't hate my daddy and not like that, or it don't really bother me with my dad not being there. But that night right there proved to me that, it hurt you, bro.
And to add on to that, I think, like I was alluding to earlier, when I got older, my relationship with my dad, it turned into hate and envy. Mm-hmm. And it turned to hate and envy when I seen other men doing the things he's supposed to do. Yeah. Mike, you know you're supposed to cut that grass. You 16 years old. Let me show you. Yeah. Mike, wash your mama car. Y'all over there, y'all some teenage boys. And you were saying you was doing the same thing to them and you got connected to, you know, the young men we was mentoring. And then you start thinking about why my dad ain't doing this. Mm-hmm. And I think at certain ages of a young man's life, when they have mentors or some other men showing them kind of like love, that's when the envy and hate come with their daddy saying, man, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Mike, they showing us the love that our daddies get. So then they probably start thinking about when we left, man, why my daddy don't even come over here and see if we hungry or nothing. So I can imagine how they was feeling when we was leaving. Mm-hmm. But then when we was leaving, I had the same thing with you, like the issues with you, like, man, why my daddy wasn't loving me like this? Mm-hmm. And so I think it get to a point, man, a young man life, when they got a good male role model in their life and their father wasn't, hate step into their father. Because they saying another man was not even my father or no blood relation doing even more than what you supposed to do. That's real. So it's important to kind of like, you know, get to know your dad, especially in your teenage years, to not envy and hate him.
That's real. That's real. And I'll say this to the fathers out there that aren't active in their children's lives right now, or, you know, by choice or by, you might not want that. man, it would mean the world to your son or to your daughter that you just, even if you just call them, like literally just calling can be everything, bro.
Yes.
Like literally, it ain't got to be no whole hour, 2 hour conversation. Bro, sometimes to know that, like for me, just to know right now that my dad, bro, I'm 31 years old and that just still means the world to me. To know that sometimes my dad thought about me. Like that joker will call me and sometimes I can't answer the phone and he'll leave a message like, man, son, I was just calling to tell you I love you. You know, I was thinking about you. What? Bro, that's for me. I'm like, hey, that's what's up, bro.
Yes,
like,
Lord.
call my boy back. Hey, you know, we'll sit there and we'll chop it up, laugh for a little while or whatever. And it's like, bro, I love you, you know. And I loved my dad enough last year to where I had to tell that joke about himself too, you know. And I told him, you know, he was having some issues. And I had to be real with my daddy. And I told him some real stuff, you know, some real tough love, you know, and I had to tell him about himself. And one thing I respected about that whole conversation I had with him, after that, I seen a crazy change in him. Bro, he ain't never been the same. Since that conversation I had with him, I felt like it pierced his heart. But I loved him enough to tell him about himself. And I just had to tell him, bro, you need to get right, bro. Like, you need to get yourself together. Like, all that feeling bad for yourself, well, I wasn't here for you. Man, I don't care nothing about that, bro. I don't care about all the years that you weren't there. Bro, I'm still living today, bro. And you got grandchildren. Like, forget the past. Move on, my boy. Like, all that being in the past, I ain't going there with you no more.
And to all the fathers who wasn't in their kids' life, just like my brother Shaw said, forget about the past. Because I think all fathers who, my dad especially used to say, oh, I know I wasn't there for this. And I was like, Dad, I'm here now though.
All right.
Just pick me up and let's go to lunch now.
Straight up.
Pick me up and let's have Thanksgiving dinner. So I tell him, I'm done with the past. I had the same thing. I'm done with the past. So let's just deal with the future. And we're going to build a relationship off the future.
That's real.
Not the past. So all fathers who haven't been there, man, throw away the past and start looking at the future.
That's real. That's real. And I think that's the most important thing, you know, just knowing that, bro, every day we're alive, you have another opportunity to make that connection with your children. Mm-hmm. You know, even for us, you know, it's important for us to not take any day for granted. You know, we got to live every day like today is our last. You know, we just seen this whole thing with Kobe Bryant.
Yes.
In January, we seen how...
First of the year.
Bruh. I'm telling you, bro, just think, well, his wife even said, she said the conversation she had, she said when he left the house, you know, he told her about whatever, told her he loved her, whatever. But who knew like that was going to be the last time I'm going to see my daughter and this the last time I'm going to see my husband. You know, he didn't know that was the last time he was going to see his other daughters. Damn, man turned off. He didn't know that, bro. So it's like, we got to take every moment to make sure that we never let that out of our minds. Like, yeah, I might not have been here. I might not have done this. I might not have been the perfect father or whatever. Or I might have messed up on yesterday. Man, we still have the opportunity to get it. Every day we wake up, bro, we got another opportunity. Boy, today it's another opportunity to teach my child something. It's another opportunity to spend, you know, this time with my child. There's another opportunity that I have to love on them and let them know, you know, how much I cherish them and how much I love them. Mm-hmm. Bro, it's like every moment, bro, and everything counts because, bro, literally it can happen just like that. And we gone.
Just like
bro,
that.
We gone, bro. Like,
And the COVID situation, it kind of hit me hard because, of course, you know, I grew up on Kobe, and I know to the extent of his relationships, how he had with his daughters until the death. And I see all the pictures and, you know, the interviews and, you know, the photos of him when he was winning the first and second and third championship, and she was there as a baby. And I was realizing, I heard an interview when he was saying too, Kobe was like, every day it's like a new beginning, because he could just be a regular person around his daughters. He can sing, you know, all the songs they singing, do the crazy dances, you know, paint their nails, you know, read them bedtime stories. And I said, man, he was finally coming to like, that made him whole, that made him complete.
That's real.
So, you know, it definitely, you know, took me by surprise, and me having 3 daughters, you know, it really got me in tune into every day when you wake up is a blessing, like you just said.
Man, that thing with the boy, when I tell you I cried, and the thing that cried was always about his daughter, bro.
Exactly.
Well, that thing that just,
people say, man, you crying and you don't even know Kobe, and he a millionaire and his wife don't gotta look for nothing no more. I say, yeah, but his daughters, how it's mentally gonna affect him. And I was just like, the tears was for his daughters.
All right. Bro, that's the thing that got every time. I still don't be like, it make me sad. Every time like I see like a picture of his daughter and stuff, that stuff just get me, bro. Because like I be thinking like, dang, like.
But now who gonna teach? And I think about this though too. Who gonna teach us, which man gonna step in, like you were saying earlier, uncle, granddaddy, you know, just a neighborhood community guy. Who gonna step in to teach his other 2 daughters, 3 daughters? You know, I mean, you see what I'm saying? Which man, and I'm talking about a real man that's gonna do the things that Kobe said was gonna do, and do it with love, chastise with love. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's the hard part about it. And will Vanessa even trust another man to come into that vicinity to like teach them that way?
That's real.
So like, they might not grow up with a man in their life, like a man, father figure like that. Of course they gonna have, you know, like Michael Jordan said and Shaq said, you know, during the eulogy, they gonna look after them. But what about the little stuff when they got a cold on a Monday night?
That's real.
Or they threw up on the way going to church.
All right.
She still got to deal with that, you know, every day. And they got to deal with like, man, what if daddy was here? Ty go out, daddy'll change it. Or they change it, daddy'll change it. So, you know, it's a tragedy, man. But for all fathers who, you know, was looking at the story, man, just wake up every day and just, you know, like Shah say, call your daughter, call your son, you know, just to say, hey, how you doing? I'm thinking about you. I love you. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, man, whatever. So if you got anything out of that Kobe tragedy, that's probably it, man.
That's real.
Just take life, you know, every day.
That's real. That's real, man. But yeah, bro, that's, like I say, I couldn't imagine my daughters waking up and me not being there. I
cry just thinking about it.
Bro, that's the thing that get every time, bro. Like, that's what I think about. Like, what if one day my son wake up and I ain't there? And I know eventually, you know, it's inevitable. We all gonna leave this earth. And it's like, that's it get me, bro, every time. And that's why I am who I am today. Yeah. That's why, you know, I'm the type of father that you know, some people be like, oh, Shah, you know, you're a good father and this and that. And I appreciate that stuff. Like I really do. I appreciate it. But to me, I'm just like, man, like, what else? Hey, literally, what else am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
Like, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. Like, how, bro, I look my babies in the face, and I'm like, even when I'm mad at them jokers, boy, I miss the heck out of them jokers when I be mad with them, tell them to go in your room, go to sleep. They go to sleep, bro, I be missing them jokers after they sleep.
Right out.
Like, man, bro, I be done went in their room and go look at them while they sleep. Like, dang, they so sweet when they sleep. Like,
I think every parent do that. Every parent does.
Hey, and I be like, hey, boy, I love them jokers though. Boy, they get on my nerves, but I love me so. Boy, I love them little jokers, bro.
And I'm gonna cut y'all shot, but that's what my oldest daughter said about my middle daughter. She was gone for like 2 days, but the middle daughter always aggravating my oldest daughter. And like when they just be playing, they just always arguing. But for the 2 days she was gone, my oldest daughter was like, when Mia coming back? And I'm like, why, baby? She was like, I'm missing her. I said, see, you say she get on your nerves every 5 minutes. You saying stop this, but now that she gone for 2 days, you saying you miss her.
All right.
So and I tell her, yeah, baby, that's the like unconditional love you have for your sister. So, it just puzzled me when you said that about you. My oldest daughter did the same thing a week ago.
Yeah, that's real, bro. I'm telling you, and I be telling my wife, I'm like, man, I miss my baby. She be like, well, you ain't act like it. They were just up. You were just yelling at them. I'm like, so shoot, I don't care. Like, I still love them. Like, them my babies. Like, for real, boy. I'm talking about. It is unexplainable how much I love my children, bro. Like I would rather them be here getting on my nerves than me not having them. Like for real. Like
yes.
And that was something that I realized that a couple years ago when Chanel and the kids had to go to Chicago for that little while we were basically homeless. And it was like, man, that thing made me cherish my family so much, bro. Like through that period, it made me really realize that, when it comes to my children and my wife, like I was going away from my wife and my 2 youngest children for 4 months, from October to that January. And bro, when I tell you that was like pain that I ain't never experienced before, bro. Like it was just, I don't know, bro. It's something that I would never wish on any man, bro. To not, and that gave me my first, taste of what it would be like to not have my wife or to not have a child. Even though I could talk with them on the phone still, through technology, I could still see them on the screen, but bro, it was nice, bro. Like I cried, bro. Like just like knowing that I don't want to see them on no screen, but I want to touch my children, bro. Like I want to like actually hug my son. I want to like touch my wife's face. Like I want to be able to I want them in my grasp. Like I don't want to see them on no phone. Like that might make me even more sad just seeing them on the phone. I want my babies home. Like, man, and then, that devil started messing with mine. Like, okay, what if the plane crash? Man, boy, that stuff there had me mentally gone, bro. But I thank God, for you, Tavares, Pastor, people that I had in my corner that I could talk with. Even at times, bro, it made me happy just being around y'all families, bro. Like, for real. Like, it gave me joy to see y'all with y'all family, because it always just gave me that hope that one day, like when they left, we didn't know when they were coming back. We just whenever we get the money, whenever we can find a place, and whenever we'll be able to get money for the tickets for the plane for them to come back, all that. And I'm just like, literally, bro, I didn't know when I was gonna see them again, bro.
Yeah, man, that was tough for me, man, and just you talking about it, I can reminisce about one night we was having men ministry, and you kind of like was talking about how it was taking a toll on you, and you broke down a little bit, and it made me break down from seeing you break down. And I remember that night I went home and I told my wife, I told Bess, I said, baby, I said, is these men that I'm around, they living real honest lives. And I was telling her, I said, see all this little, petty stuff the devil wants you to go through? That ain't what we finna go through. I said, my brother Shah right now going through a real situation. And at the time, me and my wife was going through, ups and downs in your marriage. And like you say, the devil come in and attack you. And I was like, this the reason why we need to stick together. Because, Shah living the right life, Chanel living the right life. And, they still got problems, like just living problems, not just, marriage problems, but just living problems. And, I was like, baby, that's why it's so important for us to stay connected and be around godly people. You know what I'm saying? Godly, men, godly women, because you could have easily failed. You could have easily said, well, you stay up here and I do my thing and you split. And then the generation curse would have been, it would have been on you again. Then your son would have had to break it. So it was like, that was a real deal situation that opened my eyes, man. And, it takes a real man to do what you did. And I just want to commend you on that, man. And, it got me through some situations that I probably didn't tell you about. But, I told my wife, I say, we look up to a lot of men, but I told her, even though I'm older than you, I still look up to you because you doing the things that I haven't experienced.
Real.
So I look up to you like that. You an OG. Like the old folks say, you an OG. And an OG is somebody who done been through a lot of things that you can go to. An OG could be 19, you could be 50, but they got wisdom that you don't have. And I've been through experiences. So that experience and wisdom I didn't have. So you got me through some situations, man. Just hearing what you was going through got me, to a point in my life and a level in my relationship to really look at it as in a whole and not to take, my kids and my wife for granted, man. So, I'm glad everything worked out.
Oh, yeah.
It was a blessing that how everything worked out, man. And we sitting here talking about it today with a smile on the face.
That's real, bro. That's real. It don't get no realer than that right there. And I just appreciate everybody in the ministry. Appreciate my mother. My mother looked out for us. The people that my wife went and stayed with, her family up there, man, they looked out, bro. Like, they bought the plane tickets and all. Like, when I tell you we was blessed through it all, like, through all of that, bro, we was still blessed. Yes, we had, my auntie always was looking out for me and my daughter. My mom always doing this. And, my brothers, like, I just had so many people in my corner, and my wife had people in her corner. It was so many people that all came together. Jason looking out for me around that time. There was just so much. I just felt like I had so much love, and I was appreciative. But one thing I always told my wife, I feel like it's just about character.
Yes.
Because people were willing to help you out. When they see, you see a young father and a young mother trying to take care of their children, trying to do everything they can, and it's like, and people are willing to help you out. And that's why it's always like, I've always, my main thing is character.
Yes.
It's all about character, man, and through trials like that, through situations like that, bro, those trials build character, bro. Like, man, I ain't never been the same since then. Bro, since October 2017, bro, I ain't never been the same. Like, when my wife then got back January 2018, bro, I ain't never been the same. Like, and I made that my thing. Like, I ain't gonna never be the same father. Like, I wanna do everything that I can to make sure that my family is straight. Make sure that, I'm loving on my wife. And I still got so many things that I could work on, so many things I can work on as a father and as a husband, as a friend, as all of that. But my commitment is I'm going to get better.
Yes.
I don't care if it take me for the rest of my life. I'm going to continue to strive to be better every single day, And that's the commitment we got to have as fathers, knowing that, like, this whole dad, can we talk thing ain't about perfect dads.
That's right.
You know, this ain't about, you know, us being these perfect people. Nah, you know, we just dads that are committed. That's what it's about. It's about commitment. You know, are you committed to being a great father? Are you committed to being a great husband? You know, are you committed to taking care of your children? You know, doing whatever you got to do by all means. And that's what I know. I don't know no perfect dads. I know a whole bunch of dads that are committed to making sure their family is good. Mm-hmm. And that's what I appreciate. I appreciate having, you know, men around me that aren't perfect, but they're committed and they're willing to do whatever they got to do to make sure that they're being the man that their children need, the man that their family need, man. And, you know, that's what I see in our black community. I see a lot of black men that's committed to their family, you know. Now, of course, there are things that we can work on, but I see a lot of men that are committed to being better than what our dads were to us. You know, because our dads was a whole other generation.
That's right.
You know, and they had their issues. And a lot of them weren't there. But I see in this day, in this generation, bro, you talk to most black men right now, bro, we like, nah, boy, I can't be like my daddy. That's one thing I ain't trying to be like. You know, like I want to be better. And they might not be married. They might not be living. I know a lot of dudes that ain't even living with their children, you know. But these dudes are like, man, boy, I'm going to go pick my kids up every weekend.
Every weekend.
I know a guy that I work with right now. That joker say, only time he have his child is on the weekend. That joker say, man, I'm going to make sure. Every weekend he was like, boy, I ain't doing nothing if it ain't with my son. Every weekend, I know that's the only time I get with my child. Man, I'm going to make the most of them little 2.5 days I got my child. Boy, I'm going to make the most. And he like, boy, we go do everything. And he was like, I mean, that's all I got him for right now. That's, I mean, according to the court, the court documents. If they give me 2 days with my child, I'm going to cherish them 2 days. And I'm like, hey, boy, I don't blame you, bro. Hey, I feel you, you know, and some people, I know everybody ain't got it as good as us, bro. You know, to be in the same house with our children. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But, yeah, man. Hey, I think we can end it on that note, man. Fathers, be committed. Be committed to your family. Be committed to your children. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that your children grow up knowing that their father loved them. Because that will mean everything to your child. Whether you know it or not, that could mean everything. Just your child knowing that you love them. And not just by things that you say out your mouth, but in everything that you do, the way that you treat them, the things that you do, make sure in every way possible that you live on this earth, you're doing things to make sure your child knows that they're loved and that they mean something, you know, that they're more than what, you know, the outside world would tell them that they are, because we live in a harsh time, you know. We live in a very harsh time where, especially for black men who have black children, our children are growing up in a harsh world like we did, you know. And in so many ways, you know, it's almost even more harsh today with the climate that our children are growing up in. So we got to do our part at home to make sure that our children, when they leave out of our house, they know that they are greater than what other people are going to tell them that they are. They got to know that they're loved and that someone cherishes them. They got to know that, you know, that they're valuable. It's up to us to instill that, because if we don't tell them that at home, it's a good chance nobody ain't going to tell them that outside of the home. You know, so let's make sure that we're committed to that work right there.
Yes, and commitment, no excuses. Fathers, don't make excuses for your child, and to just end it, or just add to what you said, to make it to make them cherish you. Just 3 days ago, I think it was the anniversary of Trayvon. I think like the February 27th or 28th, and I just was imagining like what he'll be right now. Like what type of, would he be a father right now? You see what I'm saying? So what you were just saying about black fathers, man, we gotta let our kids know that they cherish, that they love, and we gotta prepare them for the world that they gonna grow up in.
That's real.
Because eventually they gonna be a black man, just like we, a young black men now, just like Trayvon was a young black man then. We have to prepare our kids because the mainstream media won't. So that's why I'm so happy, man, that you're doing these Dad Can We Talks, because mainstream media won't highlight just the average black father that do it. And so I love this platform that you're doing, man, and I hope it reach everybody that need to be reached, and it just continues to grow, man, because what you're doing is great, man, and dads, you know, we all need to talk about, you know, how to be dads, how to be fathers, how to be husbands. So this is a great platform that you're doing, man. And like you say, commitment to your kids. And I say no excuses, none at all. So Dad, Can We Talk, man? It's a great platform, and I hope everybody check it out, man. And I just keep, you know, hope alive and keep it going so we can just get it bigger and broader to reach, you know, a more, you know, diverse audience, and you know, we can just keep it going, man, and to years to come. So dads, man, can we talk, man? No excuses, no excuses, man, no excuses. So straight up, that's a theme, man. No excuses, man.
That's real. Well, that wraps up this episode 3 of Dad Can We Talk. Y'all make sure you go on Facebook, follow the Facebook page, stay tuned on the Facebook page. I try to post all my updates there, and listen on every platform, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere where you find podcasts, we are available. We are out there. So, like they like to say, we out here. So that ends this episode. Y'all have a great day, a great rest of your week, and a great year. Continue to stay tuned.